From the corners of the internet to the wave signals in your brain, you are now synced into All Aware. Against the norm, you are expanding your mind and educating your soul. Your journey has begun. Let the transmissions commence. Welcome to reality.
Broadcasting from the heart of it all in Columbus, Ohio. This is All Aware. Please stand by for your host, Nathan Roshan.
And hello everybody, welcome to All Aware. I am Nathan Roshan. It is 2017. It's our first episode back for the new year, here for 2017. Donald Trump is the new president of the United States. Took office, on January 21st was his inauguration. So we welcome in a new president this year. It is a 1 year in numerology, a 1 year, which means, last year was a 9 year. That means new beginnings, folks. That means the ability to start fresh. Not every year is a 1 year. 2017 is. And how do you get that? You add up the 2, the 0, the 1, and the 7. And you break that down to a single digit. Once you get there, you'll get a 1. So I hope everybody has their kind of ideas of what they want to do different this year. Their resolutions for the new year. What do you want to do different? What's going to be better this year than last year? From all my sources and my intel, it's going to be a great year for all of us. Last year was very hectic. It was a very divisive year with the election and with just all the deception, all the miscommunication and misinformation spreading around on the mainstream media as well as the internet and elsewhere. So this year, this is my prediction that's gonna start tapering off. We're gonna start getting through the fog and the smoke, and we're gonna start seeing the truth. And it's going to be a good year for you personally, and I think it's going to start to become a good year for the nation as we get through this year, through this summer, and on to the other side into 2018. So welcome aboard, All Aware, first episode of this year. We're going to go a little esoteric tonight and talk about some stuff that we've, said we were going to talk about. I believe it might even have been, oh my gosh, it might have been 2016, 2015 even, when we discussed going into some of these programs, and I'm finally going to get into it tonight. We're going to talk about a secret space program that might be going on in the world and probably has been going on for some time. We all know about the moon landings, right? And now we can get on a whole separate topic about if those actually happened, if they were faked. That's another topic for another day. But going with what we know and what we've been told, the moon landings happened in the 60s into the early 70s. That was when the Apollo program was launched. That was when astronauts went to the moon, stepped foot on the moon. We had John Glenn, we had Buzz Aldrin. all the astronauts in the Apollo program. And everybody was so excited and so happy and just so just proud to be an American for accomplishing that and for, stepping foot on another planet. But what if it went way beyond that? What if we actually have and have had a secret military-based program that operated in space and has operated in space since about that same amount of time? And not only have they gone to the moon, but by now they have traveled far beyond and have even possibly reached other planets, including Mars, and maybe some even further than that. And what if this secret space program involves multiple countries and also multiple species? That would be bizarre, wouldn't it? What if there were confederations and alliances that have formed in space from different beings? And what if we have a seat at that table? Now, these are all things that have been discussed by David Wilcock in his book, The Ascension Mysteries, and other publications, on his website and on his television program that is featured on Gaia.com called Cosmic Disclosure. It has been brought forth by people such as Corey Goode, who is a supposed participant or groomed soldier for this secret space program. And there have been other people who have stepped forward. I am not comfortable releasing the names of the other people that we have kind of researched that may have stepped forward. And the reason being is because they're not as confirmed. Corey Goode has come forward. I don't know if it was in 2014 or before. That's about when I started to hear about this individual. But he has said a lot of what has happened and what has gone on. And a lot of it has correlated with other theories and other statements from researchers of what this program might be, might have been, might still be. And that's why I want to talk about specifically his revelations and his statements. Now, the secret space program is not just talked about by this individual or the person who brought him to limelight, which was David Wilcock, but it has been brought up by various, let's say, conspiracy researchers. It has been brought up by Dr. Michael Salla from Exopolitics. It has been brought up by many different individuals, including like Jesse Ventura, the once famous wrestler and then turned political mayor of was it Minnesota, I think. A lot of people have talked about this, and one of the things that has been talked about is the type of weaponry and the type of energy that is actually existing today, that is being concealed and withheld from the American population and the world population. And it is what these programs operate on. Stuff such as 0-point energy, anti-gravity. Engines that you would assume would only be seen in Star Trek or Star Wars or some science fiction film. It's hard to think that this stuff could actually exist today in 2017. And why are they hiding it from us? What is the purpose? Do they think we cannot handle the truth? Or is it something else? Is it something that if we did know, we really couldn't handle? And what are they doing up there? We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll go more into the theories and statements of Corey Goode from the spherebeingalliance.com is his website. And a little bit more about what David Wilcock says about in his wisdom teachings and in his Cosmic Disclosure show about this secret space program. So stay tuned to All Aware. We will be right back right after this.
You are listening to the All Aware podcast on the TrueRants Network.
At Transport America, we've set out to do some things to change trucking. You can feel it at every mile and every level of our organization. First off, we believe that no matter what's in the trailer, it's never as important as who's in the cab. These hardworking men and women are the heroes of our operation, pure and simple. That's why we know them by name, not a driver number. This is the way we run our business, because we believe that the life of a driver is measured by much more than miles. Transport America, the trucking company that's changing trucking. Apply now at changingtrucking.com.
If you are a fan of this show and the TrueRants Network, visit us online at TrueRants.net.
And welcome back to All Aware. We are talking about secret space programs that we are not aware of that could be operating outside of the atmosphere, and that could have been around for some time. A whistleblower from a secret space program, Corey Goode, has come forward since I want to say about 2014 is when I started to hear about him. He has come forward and has brought a lot of light to this subject and has got a lot of researchers, UFO theorists working on discovering if this has any merit to it, and which it seems to, as odd as that sounds. So who is this Corey guy? So Corey, apparently, from his website, his history states that he was abducted at the age of 6 into a MyLab program. MyLab would be military abduction program. There's a ton of these SAPs that apparently operate that we're unaware of. You've heard of the black budget. Well, apparently the black budget has a lot to do with these types of programs. But anyways, he was apparently abducted at the age of 6 and he was indoctrinated into this program, which would eventually have him working on secret missions within the Black Ops programs from 1976 to about 1987. And apparently, towards the end of his tour in these shadowy secret programs, he was assigned to fill a support role for an Earth delegate seat. So basically, he was asked to sit on a multi-species Congress type, Senate type, seat of power or whatever to discuss issues within the universe and on planet Earth. I guess he calls it a Super Federation Council. That's what it was. And see, Corey has some abilities such as he's an empath, psychic, has a couple of those supernatural type abilities. Well, for some they would be considered supernatural. For people listening to the show, it's probably more natural than supernatural. If you're interested in this type of programming, you probably have researched a little bit into that, or may even have some of those abilities. So in this secret space program, where he worked for over 20 years, he was assigned to several different programs. An interrogation program, a space research program, an SRV program, which is like, I guess, interstellar vehicle, maybe maintenance. And after this, in more recent years, he's been called back to assist from like 2007 up to today, because there are things going on within the planet and without the planet that we could talk about, but it would take a whole nother episode. I mean, a lot of episodes to go through. But having to do with the ascension process that the planet is going through right now, and having to do with the fall of the Cabal, which is the dark, greedy forces that had been in control of planet Earth up until today, and still, may have some control over some of the things. We can go into that on another podcast if you guys are interested in that. But we're going to stay on topic here with this for this podcast. So if you have any questions, you can Google that. You can Google the secret cabal or the Illuminati or whatever you want to call them. And there's a lot of information up there, and it's up to you to, decide what you think is factual and what's not. But there is some truth behind most of the stuff that you come to know. But during this time, Corey talks about coming in contact with beings of other worlds, extraterrestrials, beings of other dimensions, and he claims that there are, malevolent ones as well as benevolent ones. There are good aliens as well as not so good, and they all have different agendas. One of the very interesting facts about what he has proposed is that these beings who we have been working with since probably the 40s, 50s, and have been working with human civilizations since the beginning of time. And we progress, we get technology, at a point we discover them, they work with us and influence a lot of the things that happen. In the past, these civilizations have seemed to always fall, and then another civilization takes over, and the process just keeps continuing. And what's different about this civilization, this process? Apparently, the universe that we are attached to is changing. Corey Good states how when he had talked to these beings, and he has been getting information from them for some time, there is a situation occurring where the universe in which we sit in as a planet, and our planet itself, is being liberated. Planet Earth was essentially a slave planet, a planet that was either for souls who, for some reason, needed to learn lessons, or it was for like workers, worker type, basically slave races like us humans. But he says during these programs, he said he can remember when he, I guess, one of his first meetings up there, he was brought into, to a ship, into a room where he was sat amongst a table with various beings, and he was given a tablet, kind of like an iPad, but apparently it was all glass and see-through and somehow linked more mentally than through touch. And he was told to just go through it. He was told it had secrets and knowledge that he needed to become aware of. And in his interviews on Coast to Coast AM and on the Gaia TV channel show Cosmic Disclosure, he discusses how some stuff was kind of blocked out, but the amount of information he got off of that device was, immense. And it's hard to believe. If you're tuning into the show for the first time, if you're visiting these types of ideas for the first time, this sounds like BS. It sounds like some far-fetched, crazy, unbelievable thoughts. And to some, it might sound like the people that believe this, including myself, are insane. But see, what has happened is there has been so much deceit and so much hidden from us and so many lies that our world, the true nature of our creation and of our reality, is so much different than that which we have been taught, brought up with. So maybe if we did not have a cloud over our heads since birth, and that's almost all of us, then maybe this won't sound so weird. But because we have, this is only what you see in the movies. But then if you think about it, where do movies come from? Movies, television shows, somebody decides what those programs are going to be about, what they're going to include in them. And you might say, well, yeah, that's what writers do. It's imagination. Is it though? Do you think somebody has that immaculate of an imagination, that detailed of an imagination, to be able to come up with the intricacies of the technologies and of the everything in these sci-fi shows and in these movies, where everything just clicks together and makes sense? Is that all, fake? Is that all make-believe? And then other writers with other shows, are able to link this into their TV show or into their movie and progress upon it with other things. Is this all just make-believe? It could be. And if it is, then my God, we seem to have more of an ability to make things up, and more of an ability to, we have way more of an exciting imagination than the real life then. And that could be, I'm not here to dispute that, but, is there some truth behind everything? Yeah, I have a friend who is he's inspiring to be his inspiration is to be a director. And he's been working on this for a very, very long time. And he has written screenplays and movie plots. And just recently, I caught up with this guy, and I was visiting him at his apartment, and he was like, I want to show you something. Take a look at this. And he showed me a script on his computer. And I'm not gonna go into exactly what was on that script. I'm not gonna call him out that way, because this is his life's work. Honestly, it's really his life's work. But it was very, very detailed, very, very intricate. What is that word? Very, very just what am I like? What am I, Donald Trump now? I'm making up words. But he's it was just detailed. It was very well detailed. And it was a sci-fi type of script that goes deep into the lives of these people and their abilities and their lifestyles. And how could one know what, the lifestyle of these individuals? Is it based on fact? He had a guy who, came from, humble upbringings. He had someone who came from an abusive upbringing. He had someone, from another type of, environment. Is this just his imagination? Or was he basing those off of real people that he met in life or may have experienced himself? Because knowing this guy since high school, when I was reading this document, some of that stuff came from his real friends, came from his real experiences. And then he did add some imaginatory factors into that. But it came from truth. So, I guess my point is, there is an element of truth in everything. So where is the truth in this? We know, at least we were told, we went to the moon. We saw photographs and video images of men walking on the surface of the moon. So if you extrapolate from that, is it possible to have a secret space program that developed during that time and still exists today? And if it is possible, then now, right today in 2017, what do you imagine that space program would be like? They scrapped the United States Challenger ships and vessels just within the last recent years. Why? Is it because they don't want to travel to space anymore? Is it because it's wasted money? Because they have something better? They have something more advanced and they've been doing it for years? Is it just, do different countries have their own secret space programs, or is it like a global thing? These are questions that we're not sure. We don't know, but it is possible, right? So let's go back to this whistleblower and what he's saying about these secret space programs. In Donald Trump's inaugural speech, he might have been hinting at these secret space programs. In his inauguration speech challenging the vested interests that control political life in Washington, D.C., President Donald Trump spoke of a future where humanity has full access to the kind of advanced technologies allegedly used in these secret space programs. He appeared to be hinting at the benefits of official disclosure of these programs and bringing forth the interested parties who had been hiding this information. There was kind of one line in his speech that he talked about this. And this is let me see if I can find this line for you. He said, "We stand at the birth of a new millennium, ready to unlock the mysteries of space, to free the earth from the miseries of disease, and to harness the energies, industries, and technologies of tomorrow." Now, the key phrase was unlock. He says, ready to unlock the mysteries of space. So maybe Donald Trump knows a little bit about these secret space programs. After all, he is, I don't know if I want to call them friends, but he is acquainted with Jesse Ventura, which also has connections and beliefs within this. So maybe they talked about it. But unlock the mysteries of space, to me, would suggest that there were programs, there was information that had been locked away from the general public, and he intends to unlock that. Maybe he's just saying that he will, research. Maybe it's just UFO disclosure. I don't know. But you got to look at the interesting words. Like, he picked words. Now, I know the mainstream media is trying to say he did not write his speech. I don't know if he did. You don't know. But let's take people for their word. He said he wrote the speech. He had a picture of him writing the speech. He may or may not have wrote the speech, but he talked the speech. He spoke the speech. And the speech said, "Unlock the mysteries of space." That's a interesting phrase. He didn't say, have our researchers discover what's happening in space. He didn't say research space. He said, unlock the mysteries of space. Now, I could be reading more into this than I should be. Well, this is what you do when you think critically, you know? So, if you've seen the film, I think it's Captain America Winter Soldier. There are indications, I guess I should call them hypotheses, that is a soft disclosure film. That the technology that you see in that film actually exists to some extent. I think they called them helicarriers, which were flying like crafts that were almost like, the Navy aircraft carriers, but they operated in space, in the atmosphere, and they carried other space vehicles and flying vehicles. So if you ask the space program theorists, they would tell you that those actually exist. And if you look at what we know about history, what we know about the industrial complex, they tend to stay between 30 to 50 years ahead in technology. Now, I'm even willing to say they're hundreds of years more advanced, and this is why. If you remember in the 1990s, we still had payphones, and we still had corded phones. In the 90s, we had this. We had television, but we didn't have the widescreen shot film because we had those little box TVs. And from 95 till 2000, 2003, let's go to 2003, we'll say that. So from 95 to 2003, less than 10 years, we went from having corded phones and pay phones to car phones, which were still corded, and box TVs, and VHS cassettes, and cassettes, to having DVDs, to having cordless phones, to having huge box looking cell phones, to small cell phones, to flat screen TVs, to Bluetooth technology, to what we are today. In that short amount of time, we went from technology that had been developed quite a long time before that to under 10 years having cell phones, to having 2003 Bluetooth technology, laptops, and flat screen TVs. Our movies began to be shot in widescreen and displayed in that same format. So if that happened in that short amount of time, do you think it's because they were just learning how to develop that technology and it just got that good that quick and they released it immediately? Or do you think that maybe it's because they had these technologies? The military had these technologies. And during that time, they saw a need for it to be publicized to advance our world and to advance our communication structures and to advance the way that we operate. And if you go off of that mindset, if you go off that theory, then that means fast forward to 2017. What they have now, if they were willing to give us that then, first of all, that means they must have got on to something better. And if they went on to something better, in the 90s and early 2000s, we are now in 2017. You can just imagine what they have now with unlimited resources, unlimited money, the best scientists on this planet Earth, and some would argue on other planets too, because some people would argue that we get a lot of our technology through alien extraterrestrial communications. But if you want to be more practical than that, just look at that. In that short amount of time, we advanced that quickly to the point that we are today. And if we are where we are today, which we have virtual reality now, it's not in every home, but it's out there. You can test it out at your local cell phone store or electronics store. Some of your friends have it. These Oculus Rift devices and other so-called devices. So, if we have that, there's also robots now. There's also robots that help in manufacturing. There's robotic forklifts that do not require a driver now. There are, there are human companion robots that are beginning to be seen on the market. They're thousands of dollars, but they're beginning. And not a lot, but a few people have those. There's artificial intelligence now. We've begun to learn how to teach our computers to talk and learn for themselves. So, in that mindset, is it far-fetched to believe in a secret space program? Is it far-fetched to believe what Corey Goode has said and has stated? Is that far-fetched? So what is the purpose of these programs? Well, there's very many different reasonings behind this. Some of these programs have been designed to investigate human beings and humankind. Some have been developed to protect that same group. Some have been developed to advance our technology, to advance our position within the universe and in space. Some have been developed to control and to keep isolated and defenseless some sectors of the population, of humankind, of mankind, and maybe even some alien races. There's a conference, I think it's called the Disclosure Conference, that happens almost every year. It's a conference that goes over this kind of stuff. It goes over these programs. It goes over it's called the Secret Space Program Conference. should have been easy to get that one. The Secret Space Program Conference, and it has lead researchers and investigators in the field of ufology that come together and talk about this stuff, and they bring their theories together and try to figure out, what's the truth. if you go to Vimeo.com, you can pull up the actual. I think it's like $1. You can rent the videos of these conferences and see what people were talking about. But they got people such as John Brandenburg. He's a researcher heavily invested in Mars, the destruction of Mars and everything like that. They have Joseph P. Farrell. They had Joseph P. Farrell, who talks a lot about cosmic space wars and things. Walter Bosley is a researcher. Paul Lavoisier, who's a reverse engineering researcher. Jim Mars, he's a remote viewer. He's well known in the field. Linda Moulton Howe is well known in the field. She's been a UFO reporter for many, many years. Olaf Phillips, Catherine Austin Fitz, Joseph P. Farrell, well, we said him. Jay Dyer talks about predictive programming a lot. But yeah, there's several known people, well-established people that talk about this program, talk about these programs and this type of technology. I just think it's funny how it's getting a little bit more mainstream. Now, I mean, you're not going to hear about this on CNN and Fox and all that because they're too preoccupied with everything else that they do. But Russia Today has had discussions on this. There's news agencies throughout the world. And there's other countries who have said, yeah, we know they exist. So is 2017 going to be the year when this all comes out? Are we going to get like a full disclosure on our technology and of our space programs and our dealings in space? One thing that came out recently that has got a lot of attention from people in this field was Antarctica. I don't know if you remember, but there was a stories that floated around Facebook, and I think the mainstream even picked up on this, about something in Antarctica. People were going to Antarctica. Nobody knows why. They were just going. There was several individuals that were going. Somebody with the Catholic Church, representatives within the government of the United States, and including astronaut John Glenn. Well, apparently they uncovered what they tell you, so far hasn't been very accurate, I don't believe. But what people in this field are discussing is how they have gotten word that they uncovered an ancient city that had ancient technology that was far more advanced than what we have now. And that there were bioorganisms that were discovered that were like nothing that they have ever seen before. They were foreign from this earth that was on some of this technology. And who knows? Maybe it goes beyond that. Well, that's what they found so far, according to sources. So, I mean, I can't think of any other reason to have an astronaut rush down there, to have key figures within the United States government rush down there, to have, world figures such as a representative from the Catholic Church run down there. And it was all during this same time period. It's like, it was almost like someone pulled the fire alarm and, they needed to get down there quick for some reason. Now, it's all blown over now. You don't hear about much of it now, but something happened. Is that related to this? It's hard to say. But wow, it's we've been on here for a while. I haven't realized we didn't. Wow. It's coming down to the end of the program, so I guess, looking at this secret space program, it's very convincing. It's very I've been following it here for a few years now, just kind of letting it come in and out, one side and go out the other, and just been picking up synchronicities that have been happening in this thing, and it's just been elevating since 2014. The information has just been progressing, becoming more realistic, becoming more collaborated with other researchers and scientific investigations and astronomers. So it might be something there. So keep your eye out for this. For this secret space program stuff, SAPs, SSPs, MIC programs, and let's see where it goes. But if you listen to this episode tonight, I thank you. I am your host, Nathan Rushan, and this is All Aware. And until next time, you can visit us on Facebook at facebook.com/allawareshow. You can visit us on Twitter at TrueRantsNet. You can visit our website at TrueRants.net and click on shows and then All Aware. And you can also email us at allaware@mail.com. That is allaware@mail.com. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, you are all aware.